This video is going to be really short. This is going to be, very important. I'm not going to spiral into a whole conversation off of this one. I'm just going to go ahead and drop the gem and then save this for my subscribers, okay? So there's different ways that you can look at Satan, the devil, demons, the underworld, hell. There's many different ways that you could look at it. And I want you to know that the only way, even in the Bible, it was saying that, these lower vibrations and these lower entities, they can only work through influence. Influence. And then you do what they want you to do for them. I always want this to be understood. Same thing as parasites. Parasites do the same thing. Parasites don't actually operate, your body for you. They suggest things to you. And you still have the decision to feed them or not. The same way that there's the spiritual side. Remember, spiritual is spiritual. It doesn't mean it's good just because it's spiritual. Things that exist beyond space and time. What is spiritual? What is spiritual is all things. So that involves lower vibrations, lower frequencies. Now, lower frequencies dominate things like fear, things like lust, things like your 7 deadly sins. And those places, those domains, those frequencies, the entities that exist on those frequencies without you being there, with you being there, without you being there, those are known as the lords or the princes of those dark realms. Whereas there's an opposite that exists. There's the angels. And if you know the story of King Solomon, the 72 angels, 72 demons, which creates 144. And what he had them do was he had the demons working, building things in the physical realm while the angels kept control of them and domination of them. And I want you to know this about yourself, is that you can, as much as people are listening to this music and getting suggested all of these lower vibrational things, all of these self-hate programs and things of that nature, you're very aware about. They got to convince you to poison yourself. They got to convince you to go out and attack each other and hurt each other. In reality, we're all at home trying to protect our families and trying to protect ourselves. I just want to say this, is that the way that you defend yourself, defense against the dark arts, right? I'm pulling the Professor Snape right now. This is the defense against the dark arts. All you have to do to defeat a parasite in the physical body is have the body vibrate at a high frequency. So that means being healthy, working out, being active, being electric, and being alkaline, quite literally. So those things will allow the body to get rid of parasites, especially through herbs and things of that nature. That is one form of defending yourself against the dark arts. Those parasites will suggest to you to eat things that are just going to kill you and help them multiply. They'll suggest to you nasty, dirty behaviors so that they can spread their eggs. Those are the things that tell you don't wash your hands when you're done. So they spread the eggs. That's what they do. Have sex. Go do that. Spread, spread, spread. And that's what parasites do. So to defend yourself against parasites in the body, there's many things you can do. Now, parasites of the mind, these are distractions. This is a lot of the Instagram, a lot of the things on social media. A lot of us are looking for that entertainment and those things that really pull away your life force energy through your attention, through your mind, through your emotions. They get you to emotionally connect to things that are irrelevant. They get you to emotionally connect to things that are just harmful at the end of the day. Mental protection is very important. Emotional protection is very important. That's how we treat each other as well. They spreading negativity amongst each other. The dark arts, those same lower frequencies have not only been able to manifest into the physical body, but they can also manifest as your emotions and your feelings. And that's a very powerful thing, because those are your manifestation tools. Those are your creation tools, as you are the bridge between physical and spiritual. And then astrally, they exist astrally through your dreams and your nightmares, things of that nature. So the programming that happens to the emotions in the mind translates into dreams, translates into imagination. Now your imagination is polluted with darkness. Wow. So you got a physical form, You got a mental form, you got a spiritual form of the same frequency of darkness on the low levels. Fear, hate, envy, greed, lust. All of these things are parasitic behaviors, and they exist physically, mentally, and spiritually. The best way to defend yourself against all of these is to, number one, take back your control of your attention. What are you paying attention to? What is important to you? Getting sunlight should be very important to you. Eating healthy, increasing your energy levels in a day should be very important. Taking your time back from the companies that you have to give them to so you can pay your rents and do this and that in the system. You got to find ways to beat this system to where you can take your focus back. And I promise you, if you choose God, if you choose the oneness rather than the separation, the light versus the dark, what you will find is that you'll gain access to infinite energy. You'll gain access to everything. You'll have what is known as God's armor when you vibrate at an extremely high frequency. Not even extremely high, just a very high frequency. Love, it gives you God's armor. Now, what God's armor is it's your magnetic field. The way that these things happen in the physical body can be assessed through your biofield generated by your heart. You can also see the field in general that you have, your electromagnetic field, based off of the frequency of thoughts you have. Low frequency thoughts would lead to a weaker field. So you are now taking God's armor off. You are now weakening your field, and you are now more impressionable because they have put you in a state of fear, or they have fed you toxemia to where this is just normal, and now you're in a stressed out state in a physical body, and the mind is now matching that. They're literally hijacking y'all's bodies through the music on Sexy Red, TikTok, food ads, everything. This is a purely spiritual war. Completely. God's armor is a high frequency. It strengthens your field. It strengthens your biofield. It strengthens your brain, the field generated by the circuits of your body all over, increasing your field exponentially. I mean, not just a little bit, exponentially. And then to imagine beautiful things, and to do that, you can alchemize what a current situation is into a higher frequency using spirit. You feel me? Like, I feel you, Boomy. Like, this is real. I'm just going to save this for the subscribers. I might take this, put it on YouTube, who knows? Because this is big. This is important. It's just really small. I don't want to be on here live too long. I just want to say this because it is the most important thing that's going on. There are forces that have all the money that you want. There are forces that have all the things that you want, but the spirit that they're connected to is dark and low vibrational, which is why they have no problem poisoning and killing you for that dollar. They're harnessing your energy, and that's that. And as long as y'all don't unite, and as long as people who have God's armor on don't realize that you have God's armor on because you meant to fight with that sword of truth, you know, and get together, you know, with other light beings, like, they don't want you to do that. So in mass, it's not cool. In mass, you know, it is issues. And think about this as well. With my experience with carbonation, this was a spiritual group that was meant to be very high frequency, but the leader of this group was siphoning all of our energy and using it for darkness, using it for lust, greed, envy, gluttony, sloth. That describes him perfectly. And that's crazy because we all gave him our energy for him to just do that with it. That's happening in mass. It's called MK Ultra. And, you know, the funny part is that you might think you're not a part of it, but you're fueling it every day, and it's taking you over, and you're literally joining their side every time you choose to indulge in those lower vibrational things. And granted, hey, give me a break. I listen to Playboi Carti all the time. I listen to Future. I listen to Drake sometimes. And you know what? I don't like it. It's cool, but the words mean nothing. It's the beat. It's the sound. It's the vibes that I go to it for, because it's like, I like that authentic vibe. I like that raw vibe. I like that, I like that. But at the same time, what they're saying is such a negative program that it's just like so bittersweet. So I personally like to take the music back as far as the vibe goes, and I like to alchemize it into a high frequency. I like to put words in there and codes in there and energies in there of motivation, love, connection, peace, ascension, transcendence. I want people to be empowered, but I'm not going to let that stop me from connecting to other people. I'm not going to let what happened in the past, because we had a poor leader, deter me from connecting with other light beings. I don't understand how everybody at Carbonation just gave up on our this big mission that we had, just because this one guy decided to do things that he didn't need to do. Why would we give up on tribes? Why would we give up on living in nature? Why would we give up on eating healthy and connecting to the earth? What sense does it make? Because a dark being came around and put a stain on it? No, man. And that's what they're doing. They're making what's right look wrong, while they're making what's wrong popular. You don't even question it anymore. And then there's the ones who do what you do, but you could do more. You're not doing enough. Where the areas where you're settling for, where you're embodying that low frequency yourself. You feel me, Boomy? Like, it ain't never stop for me. It could never stop for me. I could never stop teaching. I could never stop living in the truth. I could never stop the pursuit of sovereignty in all dimensions. I just clarified the vision from what we thought it was before. Now I've just clarified to myself that it's like, hey, I'm seeking sovereignty in all dimensions. That's what I wanted. I didn't want to become a servant to a man. I wanted to become a servant to God. And this God decided to pose as man and say, this man, Eligio, decided to name himself God. He decided to name himself chief. He didn't say he was a chief. He didn't say he was a God. He said he named himself God. He named himself chief. Because it wasn't true, and the connection wasn't there, and there was no practices that showed it. There was nothing that we did other than taking our shoes off and walking around naked that was natural. We even started eating like shit. And I mean, this is a person we decided to take orders from. So now I'm into sovereignty in all dimensions, where I can have that direct connection with God to see what I need to do with the world that I'm in, what I need to do with where I'm at in the world that I'm in. And I can perform the alchemy as I need to. All I need to do in the midst of that is, as I walk through the valleys of shadow and death, I shall fear no evil, because thy rod and thy staff keep me protected. And that's and I have God's armor. That is light, the knowledge and the wisdom. My heart, my lamp is lit. I can walk through darkness and be the light. I'm not worried about the shadows. I'm not worried about the darkness or the lower forces. I have dominion over them. I have dominion over the dark forces. They need us, and I realize that. They need me, because I have the ability to connect to God. I do what it takes to connect to God. They hate themselves so much that they're trying to use technology to increase their lifespans. They're trying to use money to make it seem like they're good people, and pleasures and sacrifices and blood rituals and all these crazy things that they do up top to feel good, because they hate themselves. And you got to realize that's the frequency of the dark. They all hate themselves, and they're all doing things outside of connecting to God to win. And those are the people in mass, because we're coming out of the dark ages. We're exiting the dark ages. We're leaving the dark ages. So that time is up. They're dying. That's over with. They're no longer, people are getting parasite cleanses now. People are starting to see things for what they really are. The one thing that the higher ups could never do is control, stop, or change time. They can manipulate how you perceive it, but they will never be able to stop it. And yes, indeed, we are entering a golden age. Indeed. And you are here to be a part of that shift. And how do you be a part of that shift? You heal yourself, and you love yourself, and you protect yourself and your children from these dark forces. These are pedophiles that run the things that you're spending all your money on because it's convenient. These are pedophiles, like, real talk. And it's crazy, because I've been knowing about this stuff since like 2011. But I never thought it would trend so heavily and be so big. I thought I was just crazy. And that's what started my spiritual journey, was by learning the world that we were in, and learning how people are dominated by archons and dark forces. How people don't know that mirrors are manipulated quartz crystal, and they're literally portals. And you look in the mirrors, and if you look in there on these dark frequencies, these low frequencies, you start programming yourself. It's so crazy how they've set this up, even with the TVs. You know what I'm saying? Once you understand what 0 point technology was, what it's like to look at your reflection in a obsidian mirror, or what they had? They had silver mirrors. They had all kind of different mirrors that would be better to use, or water. And you know, we don't question the LCDs, liquid crystal display on the phone, or the TVs. That's what the mirror in your bathroom is too. Eligio spent a lot of time staring into that mirror, and I want you to know that those are easy ways for spirit to come through. Now, with archons being in mass, and being influencing people in mass, and everybody having a mirror in their house, they're looking at themselves and taking on fear, taking on guilt, taking on shame, taking on lust, taking on vanity, taking on gluttony and sloth, and they just sit there and they judge themselves and they see themselves. Whereas if you just didn't even do any of that and you just did what was right day to day, with a mirror or without a mirror, I bet you would be beautiful. Bet you anything. And I think that, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think that's why I look good. To me, I look good as I think about it, and the more I think about it, and the more I think I look good. But that's because I'm a good person. My heart is actually good. You know, I do what I can, man. Like, I really have been out here since a child, doing the best that I could, fighting dark forces as a child.